Hello, and welcome to another edition of Danny Brown Talks Phoenix. I am your host, Danny Brown, and today I am joined by Ben Sitzberger of the Phoenix Suns. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Absolutely. Pleasure to be here.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do for the Phoenix Suns?
Absolutely. So I kind of do everything there. The good thing about the Suns is you can kind of sell anything. I'm in sales, I guess I should say. So sales and service. A lot of teams and organizations kind of have their set teams that sell like suites and group nights and, memberships, things of that nature. And at the Suns, we do have those departments, but within each department, you can do whatever. You can sell anything. So I don't think I have enough time to tell you everything that I do sell, but, just getting people out to games, individuals out to games, families out to games, having businesses use our games, for their employees, clients, things of that nature, and making sure they're just having a great experience down at the arena.
Very cool. And how did you come across that as a career path?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I knew from the moment I was able to walk, I was playing sports. My dad was a golf pro when I was born, so I grew up playing golf. I still play golf. It's my favorite sport right now, but I really started to get that passion for sports. When you're a young kid, you're throwing around the football with your dad, or you start to get into organized sports, and I knew sports is where I wanted to be eventually. And growing up in a small town in Wisconsin, playing professional sports wasn't necessarily the easiest and most realistic path for me, so I tried to kind of find ways to get into sports behind the scenes. So worked at a golf course in Wisconsin for 8 years, did a lot of the hands-on things there, started to kind of teach some of the juniors how to play golf, and some of the people who played in our leagues, I would kind of give them lessons as well. So kind of turned into a passion project for me, getting people involved with sports. So once I transferred to the U of A, went down there, really was in golf with the athletic department, knew that I wanted to work in sports, and the opportunity came up where I met with my now ex-manager. He just moved on to the Cleveland Cavaliers, actually. But I met with him, and the ball kind of went rolling with the Suns. But I knew I always loved connecting with people, and I always loved sports, so I knew sports sales specifically was going to be a pretty good starting spot for me.
Very cool. Now, I grew up here in Phoenix, and I've been a lifelong Suns fan, and so,
we love to hear it.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot harder than it used to be. So my question revolves around, if you're on the sales side and your mission is to get people into the seats and into the stands, do you find that difficult in kind of the era that we're in of, and I'm not putting down the Suns by any means. I'm just talking about the NBA in general, where it seems like you have to have, the big three or the big four, or else you're not competing. And if you're not one of those, 3 to 4 big teams, then you just don't have a prayer. So do you find it challenging to try and get people into the seats at Suns games?
I would say yes and no. No, because if we were the Warriors, I wouldn't have a job. They wouldn't really need me, right? So from that standpoint, no. We do have to be a little bit creative in what we do. With the team, obviously not winning as much as a team like the Warriors. We have to be creative and really engaging, right? So we do things on the experience side. Like, yes, you're coming to games, but how can we make your time at the arena as smooth as possible, as fun as possible, as engaging as possible, so that it's not just a, hey, here's your tickets, enjoy the game. It's hey, you're coming to our building, let's show you a good time. And, oh, hey, there's a basketball game too.
So the basketball game almost becomes secondary to the experience that you're having at the arena.
Yeah, 100%. And the good thing about Phoenix is, like myself, there's a ton of people that aren't from here, right? So, when you're meeting with people from Chicago, New York, Florida. I know it was a city and a state, but you know what I mean? A lot of people from California, right? So you're meeting with a lot of people who are really passionate about the Bulls, the Knicks, the Heat, yada, yada.
Sure.
So it's easy to kind of connect on that and build from there. Answering your question about having the big core and the big three, I don't think that's as challenging as some other teams or some people may think, because people love hope, right? we've got DeAndre Ayton, the rookie. He's playing better than pretty much any other rookie in the league.
Sure.
We've got Booker, who is absolutely one of the best shooters and shooting guards in the league. Got a few additions this year, like Kelly Oubre, who is a young guy we got from Washington, who the city has just absolutely jumped on and love him. And then you've got some veterans as well that kind of, lead the team in the mentality side. So while we don't necessarily have that big three, that like Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Durant three,
sure,
we believe we've got the best young core in the league. And the past month and a half, we've been playing some pretty tough teams. Mm-hmm. We're hanging in there. I mean, even with the Warriors, we were winning all the way until about 3 minutes left, and then they kind of said, all right. And then they kinda,
we've let you guys hang around long enough. Now it's time to squash you.
But, well, yeah. But our
Sorry.
No, it's fine. But our young core is, again, they are young. We're leaning on a 22-year-old and a 20-year-old. But we feel like we're really, two or three pieces away from having a solid squad that's going to be together for a handful of years. So we're excited about that. That's something that the fans can really connect on.
Sure.
So I don't think it's super challenging. Plus, I'd rather work for a team where you got to work for your sales, get better at it, rather than just being like, hey, I work with the Warriors, and then people just hand over their card, right? That doesn't really make me better at my craft. So
that's very true. That's a great way to look at it.
So I have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah. What are some of the creative and interesting things that you guys are implementing at the arena to try and get people there that's outside of the basketball game?
Yeah, so the big one is in the works. I'm not sure if you saw it, but a handful of months ago, we announced our jersey patch sponsor, our official sponsor with PayPal. So we're going to be moving towards a completely paperless arena experience. So, lines at concession stands are going to be much shorter because you're going to be able to just pay with PayPal. Just do that, in and out, done, quick, good to go. Same thing with the ticketing system. We actually have the tickets through our app right now, so it's very seamless, gets you in really, really quick. So I know for some people they've had a long day at work, and then they're like, oh, I have to get down to the arena. I have to wait in line to get in. I have to wait in line for concessions. We're pretty much taking that out of the question and making it very seamless. In terms of the in-arena or in-game experience, we're doing a lot more of engaging marketing. So we're doing a lot more of those like, section blank wins blank, things of that nature. But I think the biggest way that we kind of create those experiences is on the membership side. And I use the word membership because we don't like season tickets. We have a membership, which includes tickets, right? So what we like to do with those is we have about 17 and 19 events throughout the calendar year, not the season, which allow fans to come down and engage with the players, the team, on a much more personal level. So that's really the highlight of the membership and kind of where we try to stand and set ourselves apart, because we do a lot more to bring the people in and the fans into the family rather than just say, hey, here's your tickets. Oh, here's a discount. You're good to go.
Sure. So what are those events? Like, does your members, do they get to hang out with the players?
Yes and no. They don't get to go and hang out with them for a week. We don't allow that. But
go on their family vacations.
Yeah, no, we don't do that. That would be a little invading. But no, they kind of vary. For example, we have one actually this Thursday where we're taking all of our rookie members, so people who this season's their first season with membership, and we're doing a graduation ceremony for them. So they're going to get like a little cap, a little like diploma saying, hey, you graduated your first year. We're looking forward to next year. We had an event a couple weeks ago for the rookie members as well, where they actually got to meet our rookie players.
Oh, nice.
So we had DeAndre Ayton there. He was actually playing NBA 2K with fans. It was getting a little competitive at times, as you can imagine.
I'm sure.
Yeah. But that was really cool. We had Elie Okobo. He's another one of our rookies. He's actually from France. And he was making crepes for our fans and the families and everything. So they definitely get to engage with them. They get to talk with them. I wouldn't say they get to actually hang out and kind of do whatever. It's relatively structured, but
Sure.
It's
and I'm sure there's a lot of people. It's not.
Oh yeah, I think we had like 400 people.
I mean, how many players are there versus how many?
There's 15 on the roster.
Yeah,
we had 4 of them at that event, so it's tough.
It's not like you get to sit around and shoot the shit with them for
a
long time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's a good problem to have, right? Like
Sure.
you have a ton of people there, they're being engaged. It's better than throwing a member event and seeing 6 people.
Sure.
Then you're like, well, cool.
And is the graduation ceremony followed up by signing your life away for the next year? Like, all right, now you've graduated and.
Yeah, they don't sign their life away per se. But we are actually in the renewal stage for next season's campaign, if you can believe it or not.
Sure.
So that's part of it. A lot of the engaging or experience side of things that we offer is actually through the reps that we have. Not to toot our own horns, but we have 6 dedicated service employees on our sales and service staff, and they are the ones who service all of the member accounts. So if there's any issues getting into the game, or if they want to add on seats, or inviting them out to those events that I was talking about, they really connect and become part of the family and kind of drive that whole the whole membership with the fans. So they are going through the renewal stage right now. So a lot of the events that we're doing are aimed at rookies and our members right now to bring them back for next year.
Sure.
And again, it's kind of the same thing, selling that hope, saying, hey, we have this core, this is all the things we've done. Obviously you enjoyed them. What can we do to bring you back? So that's what we have. In addition to that, we do have other events for reaching out to new people. For example, we have an event this Sunday. It's called our Selection Sunday event, where we're already taking RSVPs for that, where people can come down and look at seat locations for memberships and hop on board that night. So like I said, we do a ton of events throughout the year to kind of stand out.
So you said the membership packages are basically season ticket holders, but rebranded as something different.
Essentially, yeah. I mean, the main part that everyone the main part is the tickets. Obviously,
okay. So it's not necessarily the people up in like the ring of whatever or in the private booths. These are normal people sitting out in the stands.
Yeah, they're like the seats when you turn on the game on TV and you see the people in the seats. Those are all the members. The suites are a little bit different. We have a couple other premium areas that are a little bit different.
Sure.
But, this goes from, anybody in row A court sides where their feet are literally on the court all the way up to the people in the upper level. Those are all members. Obviously some people use it for business. A lot of people use it for personal, family reasons.
Sure.
Right? But those are all of our members. So it's an event the membership covers all of that.
How do you guys go about approaching situations when people want to like split the membership between multiple people?
I thought it was going to be a lot more difficult than it was. It's just a matter of person A, person B. They have their own accounts. You take the plan or the package, you split it halfway, depending on like what they want. Sometimes they get heated as to what games each person wants.
Yeah.
But split them up.
I want to watch LeBron play.
Exactly, yeah. So fortunately, we had him twice this year. Well, we have him again on the 2nd. So March 2nd, Lakers. But you just split it up and put them on their accounts, and it's very, very seamless.
So when you split it like that, do they get to go to all the membership things as well? Both of them? Yeah,
they'd split the membership as well. So like if you and I split and got a membership, and you got half of the games and I got half of the games, or if you went half season, quarter, we as an account would have all the events, and we would just kind of pick and choose which events we want to go to.
That makes sense.
A lot of our bigger events are usually account and family. So like if you have 2 seats, we'll already bring like the 2 people that have seats and then like 2 kids or something like that. When it comes to the events, we're not very, very strict on, hey, only you and you can come, because that's not the point of the events. It's to engage, right?
Yeah,
so we want as many people to come out and be a part of the Suns family. We do have some smaller events where we are very strict and say, hey, it's 2 people max. That's when we have a smaller space or less players there, something like that. But typically it's kind of just, don't bring 40 people, but your family's fine.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
What are some of the challenges that you face kind of in your role with the Suns?
Yeah, there's a lot, right? I mean, with sales, you're going to see challenges every single day.
Yeah.
I think the biggest challenge is just being on your A game every single day, because if there's a day where I come in or anyone comes in and we're feeling a little sluggish, for example, right after the Christmas holiday, you're gone. I was gone for like 8 days, and then all of a sudden it's back and we have a game the next day. So it's like, that's pretty much the biggest one, just making sure you're on your game every day. But with the people that we have on the floor, it's not hard to get up every day. I mean, we've got some genuinely really good people.
You're talking the fans.
Well, the fans,
floor?
yeah, but I'm talking about just the people on the sales floor too.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
Like, our leadership team has done a great job of making sure that we have the right people on the floor, making sure that the culture kind of stays top of mind. So there's days where I come in and I'm just like, whew, this is going to be a long one. And I get in and I walk into the floor and we've got music playing already and we've got people doing push-ups already. It's not hard to kind of switch and get ready to go out there and work. And not to mention, if you are having a day where it's a little slow, you take 10, 15 steps outside our cubicle and you're in an NBA arena. I mean, for someone like myself, I grew up with Jake in Oshkosh, 60,000 people. There's nobody there.
Yeah.
You walk out and you're like, well, damn. Okay. You see the Suns logo at midcourt. You got the NBA logo on your business card. There's no lack of motivation, I guess I could say. But that's definitely the biggest challenge, is making sure you're 100% every day.
Yeah, I mean, in sales, that's always the challenge for sure, is being on. And, when people want to talk to you, you have to always put that smile on, regardless of what you have going on.
I love it when people want to talk to me.
Yeah?
That's easy. I mean, I could talk to a wall for hours. The challenge is when you get those people who are just very anti-Suns, not really excited. You get the people who have area codes from, like, I think I had one from, like, Maine. You're like, hey, I'm with the Suns. They're like, I live in Maine. Why are you calling? It's like, okay, cool, nice talk. But no, when people want to talk to me, that's great, because that's engaging.
Sure.
And at the end of the conversation, even if we don't find a fit with them, at least they had a good conversation with somebody from the Suns. And
you'd hope so.
Maybe that brightened their day.
Yeah.
Mind the pun.
Yeah. How do you find the leads that you're contacting? Yeah,
so that's all done through our CRM team. We actually have a customer relations team, and they find them from leads on Facebook. When we do like giveaways, we have certain ones that are like promotions that we do where it's like, hey, if you sign up, you can get this jersey. It's tough when you get that many people that sign up to pick a winner. But those people to some extent are showing some interest in the Suns, right?
Sure.
So what we believe in is,
or just free stuff. I've found that people just go nuts,
yeah.
Especially at sporting events. They go insane.
With the T-shirts?
And they're all extra larges, and they've got like Fry's Food and Drug Store printed on the back. It's a shirt that no one's ever going to wear, but people go apeshit at these games over these free shirts.
You should see my closet from the stacks that I literally have a stack of just shirts that I've gotten. But
probably all look like nightgowns.
No, they actually. I made sure that I was getting the right size.
Okay.
I think they're all XL, so they're not the right size, but they work. They're nice to wear just when I'm lounging around. But yeah, we get them through those. Right now, we're taking RSVPs online for the Selection Sunday, so just following up with them, making sure they know exactly what's going on in the event, and a lot of the best conversations I've had recently are from people who RSVP'd for that, just learning more about them.
I'm sure.
But kind of backtracking a little bit, what we believe in is if you're going to take some time to fill out a form and say, hey, I want to win this jersey, we want to make sure that you have a contact with the team. So I know a lot of people are like, oh, cool, it's a sales call. Cool, being sarcastic. But we truly believe in making sure we connect with our fans, because that's what we have to do with the Suns. Like I said, we don't have the luxury that the Warriors or the Lakers have, where
they kind of sell themselves.
You sneeze and you found 10 people that want to buy tickets.
Yeah,
right. So we try to connect with as many people as we can and see if there is a way to help them get to more games.
Sure.
That's really our main goal.
So can you give me a little bit of history on the Suns? Do you know about their past, kind of where they've been, and what kind of the future hopefully holds for them?
Yeah. Based on some of the conversations I've had with people, I do not know nearly as much as a lot of the people around here. I mean, I was on the phone today with a guy who's rattling off the entire starting roster from like 75. And I'm like, yeah, sorry. I wasn't born. I don't know.
I wasn't alive yet.
The team was founded in 1968, here. So they've been in Phoenix the whole time. They started off at the Madhouse on McDowell, just kind of down the street here. Then they moved downtown. 92, I believe, is when the
I remember when they were at the Coliseum when I was a little kid.
Yep. Everyone has fond memories of that place. And every time I drive out to meet with anybody, I've been meeting with schools in the Peoria area recently.
Sure.
But every time I drive out there, I drive past it, and I'm like, it'd be cool to go in and see it.
Yeah?
But I don't know.
It's not that nice.
Yeah.
At least not anymore.
Yeah. So,
it seemed huge when I was little.
Right?
Yeah.
I remember my first game at Lambeau was before the renovation, so it was still like a 50,000 person stadium. And I was like, and now we go back with all the renovations, it's closer to 80 now, and I'm just like,
Yeah. So what?
But so they moved downtown. In terms of the history, I mean, notable players like Barkley. Everyone knows Barkley. Everyone knows Nash. Everyone knows Amari. Everybody knows Kevin Johnson.
Yeah, I think my favorite time, or when the Suns were at their peak, at least for me, was, I think I was in elementary school, and it was the first season that they were at back in the day, it was called America West Arena, Purple Palace. It was the inaugural season, and that's when they had Barkley, Dan Marley, Danny Ainge, Kevin Johnson, Frake Johnson, Mark West, all these guys.
So you're rattling them off, too.
Yeah, and went to the finals, and the stupid Chicago Bulls knocked them out.
Whatever that dude's name is.
Paxson hit that three and killed him.
Yeah. It was, back-to-back, I believe, in the mid-90s there?
Yeah, Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was brutal.
I remember watching that back home. I wouldn't tell you exactly my age because I don't want to upset anybody here, but
Make me feel old.
It's crazy because, I mean, I'm 27, and the majority of the people that I work with are like 22, 23, right out of college. I took a non-traditional college route. But like they always talk about like, oh yeah, I was X when this came out. And I was like, so now I know what my dad and like all of his friends were always saying when they're like, man, you're making me feel old. And I'm like, oh, what the hell?
I feel like that every day in my office.
And now I'm like, well, crap. So, but yeah, I mean, I remember even watching that back in Wisconsin when I was young. I mean, those were the days for the Suns, right? And unfortunately, we couldn't quite get over the hump.
Right.
And then again,
yeah,
in the
and
2000s,
then it was like the run and gun Suns, the high scoring, had the ball for just a couple seconds. Yeah,
those damn Spurs that one year. But that's the thing about the Suns and the organization is like we have all of these things that have gone really, really well. It's just getting over that hump, and I feel like that's a microcosm of this season. Like, yeah, we have 11 wins at this point, but I feel like in 20 or so games, it's like we're there at the very end and it just can't get over the hump. But it's exciting. The good thing about working with the Suns is no matter what anyone says, and this is no knock to the Cardinals or the Coyotes or the Diamondbacks, but Phoenix is the Suns city. You know, when
because they've been here the longest.
Yeah, when the Suns are at their peak, it's the Phoenix Suns.
Sure.
And then you have these other teams, right? Whereas if you're in Wisconsin, it's the Packers. If you're in LA, it's the Lakers.
The challenge with being a sports fan in Phoenix is that Phoenix has such a transient population. So you have so many people coming from everywhere else and moving here. And, you know, I'm a native. So when I was growing up, you know, you had the Suns. The Cardinals eventually got here in 88. And that was kind of it.
Yeah.
You know, baseball didn't come until later. Hockey certainly didn't come until later. And I think they did themselves a huge disservice moving out to Glendale. Who the hell wants to go out to Glendale to watch a hockey game?
I've been out there to meet with. It's such a long drive.
It is. They really need to move back to Central Phoenix. It's ridiculous. But, you know, so you have people, my friends are guilty of this. Everyone, you know, oh, I'm a Suns fan or I'm a Cardinals fan until they play so-and-so. Yeah. And then I'm this fan. Yeah. And it drives me absolutely bananas. And the difference with the Suns is because they've been here since the 60s. So there's multiple generations of Suns fans who started out as little kids being Suns fans. The Cardinals, I think, are just getting into that, being that they were here in the late 80s. So you finally have late 80s kids who are becoming adults and now their kids will grow up to be. So the Cardinals have really just one generation of true fans who are just now starting, where I think the Suns have multiple generations.
Yeah.
The Diamondbacks, I think have a following because they, winning a World Series will always kind of catapult you, and
it's not a bad thing.
Right. Yeah. Winning, bandwagon fans, of course, people don't, unfortunately don't want to watch losing teams too much, but, so I think that's always been the challenge, at least from my perspective, of being a Phoenix sports fans, is the loyalties that everybody who moves here still has to their other teams. It's just really frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely see that a lot too, especially with the Suns. The thing that I tell everyone that I meet with is, if you're getting a handful of games, if you're wearing Suns gear 29 of the 30 games you have, and you're wearing, I'm just gonna say Bucks because I'm from there. If you're wearing Bucks gear one game, that's fine. The really cool, it is a challenge, 100%, but it's
got to be a challenge for the players too. When you're playing a home game, and you probably have more Los Angeles Laker fans in the stands than Suns fans. I don't know if they have more. Sometimes they're definitely louder though. Yeah.
Which is frustrating, but at the same time, I mean, we are so close to LA. LA has been, it makes sense.
Yeah.
When the Celtics were in town, the Celtics are another team that have just a crazy fan base. So,
sure.
I get it. But at the same time, I love having that challenge where people are like, oh, I like the Bucks or the Pistons or whatever. It's like, okay, cool. That's awesome. They play here once. How about for the rest of them, you learn a little bit more about the Suns? How about the Suns become your Western Conference team? So I kind of like that challenge.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, teams aside, if you're interested in seeing basketball.
That's true.
I mean, any given night, you could see a guy go for 50. Or you could see a guy put up a triple-double. Or you could see a poster dunk. Or you could see a half-court heave. Any given night, you could see anything like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes basketball so special, regardless of the team that you're supporting, right?
Sure.
So that's what I really love about the NBA. It's a little bit different from any other sport.
It is a lot, it's more quick-paced for sure. Yeah. Football is kind of a hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
What I think drives me crazy about basketball is the last 2 minutes where they
take forever.
It takes so long. You foul the guy and it's just back to the free throw line. I wish they would change the rules so that would be a little bit crisper, and you couldn't do that. But that's outside of the Suns' control for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if I had that type of control, I think I'd be doing pretty well for myself at this point in my career.
Right.
But that's one of the things, if the rules weren't in place where it made that make sense, or if it didn't work, then nobody would be doing it.
Sure.
So I definitely agree. It could be a lot more smooth, but it's hard.
Who's one of your favorite players on the current roster?
Ayton.
Who? I didn't even get the question out.
DeAndre Ayton. He went to the University of Arizona. I'm going to go ahead and say we went to school together.
Okay.
We were there at the same time. I don't know how much we actually went to school together, but I graduated in May. He got drafted, obviously, so he followed me to the Suns, which I thought was really nice of him. But he's my favorite player.
Yeah.
Being able to watch him and get to know him a little bit in college, and then getting to know him a little bit more here. Great guy, super super nice. He's very very humble, really funny. Kind of the opposite of personalities that you typically get with a big guy.
Sure.
They're typically that bruiser, rough kind of guy, and he's more laid back and kind of carefree. But by far my favorite player.
Very nice. Do you find, or who do you think, who's the most notable player that you can think of that's played for the Suns?
Right now or in history?
Just in history. When you're talking to people on the phone, who's the one that comes up the most?
Man, it's got to be either Nash or Barkley, because those are our MVPs.
Yeah.
I think the younger generation would probably lean Nash, because that's the guy they grew up watching.
Yeah.
Although now they're seeing Barkley on Inside the NBA on TNT, and they're understanding what that guy's all about. But I would say those two are probably the most notable.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I would agree with you on that. So other than Suns games, are there other events that take place at the arena?
Yeah, great question. We have over 130 events per year.
Jeez.
Yeah, so we have the Phoenix Suns, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
We have your 3-time champion Phoenix Mercury.
That's right. Yeah.
WNBA. Season starts May 31st.
Suns might want to look at them for some players.
They got Taurasi, the GOAT. She is the GOAT. So the cool thing about the Mercury is if you've never been to a WNBA game, I would highly recommend just trying it once. I know in the past there's kind of been like I'd rather stick to NBA kind of, I guess, conversation or trend, I guess.
Sure.
But, man, the Mercury games are a blast.
Are they?
So much fun. So in addition to the Mercury, we have the Arizona Rattlers.
I love the Rattlers. Those arena football is so much fun to watch.
It's so much fun. I feel bad for the defenders because they're on skates. And
there is no defense in arena football, let's be honest.
But yeah, so they start on the 3rd, so not this Sunday, but the next. They've won 6 titles. So between the two, we have 9. So, if you're looking for teams that are in the running to win a championship every year, the Rattlers and the Mercury those are prime. Those are perfect. In addition to that, we have...
I'm sure you have countless concerts.
Concerts, shows. We had Disney on Ice. We have that Disney on Ice again. We had UFC, WWE. We got Justin Timberlake coming up, so that's a big one.
That is a big one.
I'm trying to think. Gabriel Iglesias, Fluffy, the comedian, he's coming.
Very nice. So if you have a membership to the Suns, do you get any sort of privilege to those other shows, other sporting events? Is there any sort of?
So with concerts, you do get a little discount.
Okay.
However, we do have some spots in the arena that are like all inclusive. So. We had this section kind of right on the sideline if you're watching a Suns game where we had a package where you'd get every concert and every Suns game, and that was all included.
But that's a lot.
It wasn't that bad. I don't remember the exact number, but I remember it not being like staggering. Mm-hmm. And you're getting 100 events or something like that. But then obviously with suites, you get everything that ever comes into the arena. With our theater boxes, which are a little bit more exclusive than a suite, you get every event that ever comes in. So there's definitely ways to save a little bit if you're already on board with something.
Well, you mentioned money. So what does it cost to become, to join the Suns, to be a member?
Yeah, so
I'm sure it ranges. But
it ranges from like $1,000 to $100,000. Well, if you're doing suites, like $200,000. We believe there's a spot everywhere for any budget. And plus, right now we're starting next season, like I said. So we do also offer like an interest-free, tax-free payment plan, monthly payment plan. So, if putting down a lump sum right away is a little bit of a struggle, which it is for a handful of people. We can break it up into 12 payments. Obviously, depending on if you go half or full season, it's going to change. Depending on your location, it'll change. But
so I would imagine the $1,000 for the year is probably up at nosebleed section, at the top.
It's in the upper level, yeah. But
how strict is the security in there? Because I see a lot of empty seats.
I feel like I can get in trouble here.
Yeah, right.
I feel like I can get in trouble here.
You don't have to answer that.
I will just say that security does their job. I don't want to get in trouble, man.
No, I don't want you to get in trouble. Definitely.
Hopefully this isn't incriminating.
Yeah. I don't want to have to cut anything out of the podcast either. So outside of the Suns, what is an upcoming event that you're most looking forward to?
To pinpoint one is tough. I will say I'm very excited for the Mercury season. I'm very excited for Rattlers because both of those teams were 2 minutes away from a title.
Yeah.
The Rattlers went to overtime in the semifinals and had their extra point blocked to move on. So that was a little frustrating. And then the Mercury we were 2 minutes of Sue Bird going crazy away from beating Seattle and, in my opinion, sweeping Washington and winning a title there. So I'm very excited to see how both those teams kind of react to last season and kind of the improvements that they've made. In terms of shows, I mean, Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think there's another answer.
No, I mean,
for the females watching, we do have Ariana Grande coming. I know she's a big one, but I'm going to stick with JT.
Yeah, I have a huge man crush on JT.
Yeah, I mean,
he's fantastic.
I've never seen him live, but everyone says he's absolutely incredible. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
I think my favorite Justin Timberlake is on SNL.
It's true.
I can't think of an SNL where Justin Timberlake didn't just
That's true.
do awesome as a host.
That's true.
Not as
Yeah.
a musical guest.
Yeah. That's true. He's just a talented dude.
Yeah, absolutely. So is there anything that we didn't touch on in regards to the Phoenix Suns that maybe you would like to share before we wrap up?
I think the main thing is just, to anyone watching who is a Suns fan, we appreciate your support. It's not lost that it's been a struggle for a couple of years. But if you've been able to watch any games here I would say the past couple of months, there's definitely signs. There's signs that we're getting close. We definitely have the right people, leadership-wise. We have the right people, roster-wise, to make a couple moves and really start to kind of kickstart the process. So we definitely appreciate the support. I hope that doesn't go unnoticed. But, we're looking forward to finishing out this season. And then, whatever happens draft-wise, we're obviously excited for the off-season as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the plans are to stay in Phoenix, I'm
Oh,
assuming?
Yeah. So the renovations went through. So they'll actually start doing that this summer. They're going to kind of do like the auxiliary areas, the piping and all that, which they needed work. So we're really happy about that. But there was never really an intention to leave Phoenix. I mean, the Suns are Phoenix.
They are, and I think that whole message was just a mistake in
miscommunication.
My initial reaction was no. Like, let a billionaire pay for his own renovations, and then I come to find out the city's the one that owns the arena.
Yeah,
and that
there's a lot of miscommunication.
Yeah, and then I was like, oh, well, if the city owns it, then they should be the one to pay for renovating it. That makes sense to me. So I think that was just a big branding fiasco, communication fiasco.
Yeah, well, and what we did after that, I'm not sure but we went crazy on social media, like saying, hey, like this is what's going on. And I know the city was like, oh, hold on a second, we were, so. Everybody's
knee-jerk reaction, I mean.
When you hear news like that, I mean, it's.
Sure.
Like we even saw it, I think it popped up on I got an ESPN alert at work and I was like, it doesn't sound right. So, but it's funny how passionate people can be about.
Sure.
Sport teams, and I'm guilty to it as well. I was actually at the 2 Packer Giant playoff games where Brett Favre threw a pick in overtime and we lost, and then Eli Manning beat us in the other one. So it was heartbreaking.
Yeah,
so I get it. But
I've been Cardinals fan since they moved here, and they sucked for a really, really long time and suck again. And
seems like you guys got the Packers number in the playoffs, though.
Yeah. And the Suns, they're not that great either, but according to you, they have a lot of promise. So hopefully that's true, and they will, find their way back to winning ways. So
for sure.
If anybody wants to reach out to you, how can they find you?
Easiest way would be probably my email. It's just my last name, Sitzberger @suns.com. Otherwise, they can follow Suns on any social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I have all those, but I don't think I'm nearly as entertaining nor cool as the Suns. So if you want to follow me, go for it. But email is probably the quickest way. I could throw my phone number in there too. I'm not sure how often that would be.
Yeah, we'll put your email in the show notes. So if anybody wants to reach out to you, they can. And then finally, I always like to wrap it up with some Phoenix-based questions for you. So right now, what's your favorite Phoenix restaurant?
All right, so before I go into this, I want everyone to know that I've been here since June. So, that being said, Burrito House.
I love Burrito House. Burrito House is good. If you like burritos, they've got really good burritos.
Burrito House is solid.
Yeah.
Very happy with that decision.
So, since you're new then, what is the most exciting place that you've discovered?
In Phoenix or Arizona?
Oh, Phoenix.
Phoenix. That's a tough one. I got to stick to my gun to say Old Town here.
Old Town,
big
like
fan
Old
of
Town
Old Town.
Scottsdale.
Yeah,
that is fun. You're still young, so it's exciting ish. Yeah, in Old Town. Yeah, for sure. All right, and then what is your favorite Phoenix neighborhood, if you have one? So that would be like, Arcadia is well known, Biltmore, Willow Historic District, Ahwatukee, in South Phoenix. Just to give you an idea.
I don't want to say something wrong, so I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. I haven't explored. I haven't explored that much. My exploring is more like Sedona, Grand Canyon.
Okay.
I try to get away from Phoenix because I'm here a lot.
Sure.
And I'm downtown a lot. So I try to get away as much. So I don't have a favorite neighborhood yet.
All right. Well, then we'll ask you what's your favorite site to see in Arizona then?
2, Horseshoe Bend.
Okay.
Love that.
Yeah, that's a new one.
Yeah.
No one said that yet.
Horseshoe Bend is amazing. If you haven't gone, I would highly recommend it.
Did you do the hike through Antelope Canyon?
It's on the list. We're going to get that
It's not really
done.
a hike. It's more of a stroll.
Stroll with
Yeah.
amazing view. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my girlfriend and I, we got that on the books. We're going to do that. But my other favorite site, and this is more kind of like nostalgic, I guess, which is funny because
You've only been here since June. How can
I've
you
been
be
in Tucson
nostalgic?
for a couple of years.
Okay,
But yeah,
wow.
so it's my
I won't hold that against you.
thank you. My first big trip I took when I moved up here was up to Flagstaff and then to the Grand Canyon, Horseshoe Bend, and we kind of did northern Arizona before I
Sure.
started work. My favorite view is when you're on the 17 going north and you come around the corner by Camp Verde or Verde, what I pronounced it wrong every time, and you can see the peaks, the San Francisco peaks in Flagstaff from like 70 miles away. That's probably my favorite view in Arizona because my girlfriend's from there, so it means a lot to me, first of all. It was the first real trip I took after graduation, which was a huge accomplishment for me. So it just kind of brings back those memories. So every time I come around the corner and I see the peaks in the distance, I kind of get chills every time because it just
nice.
reminds me of a lot of things that I was able to accomplish coming from Oshkosh. And just
Yeah.
it kind of puts everything into perspective every time I see it. So I love that view.
Yeah, I like that drive up north. My favorite part is once you get out of the city and all the winding roads and you're climbing, and then you finally hit that stretch of the 17 where it's just super flat and you're up
Like
high and
plains.
it's like, yeah, it's all grassy. And if you're fortunate enough to see a storm in that area when you're up
Ooh.
there, it's super badass.
I haven't seen that. That
Yeah.
sounds incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one of my favorite spots.
Yeah.
But cool.
That's a good
Well,
one.
thank you so much for joining us today. I
Absolutely.
appreciate the time.
Thank you for having me.
So this was another edition of Danny Brown Talks Phoenix, and we will see you next time.